I'm Nick Steinhauser. I'm part of the Central Texas Mycological Society. We're here at Gus Garcia Community Garden inoculating corn with liquid culture for Huitlachoche. Huitlacoche is a fungus that grows naturally on corn. It'll infect the tassels, the silk, the ear. When it infects the ear in central Mexico, it's eaten there as a delicacy. It's recently been called corn truffle here in the US, and it's something you can do easily in your own garden. Usually for corn, you have to plant several plants. But if you're growing Huitlacoche, you don't actually need that. You can only need to grow maybe even a couple plants because the Huitlacoche actually prefers if the corn is not pollinated. And that's the only reason that they're planted in groups, is so that the tassels will rain pollen down on the silk. So this is a well-developed ear of corn. This would be too late for inoculating with Huitlacoche, but here you can clearly see the silk. Now for an ear of corn, this silk gets pollinated by pollen that falls from the tassel above. And so that'll rain down on it and drift on the wind and land on these ears. And each individual ear will fertilize an individual kernel of corn. So there's one silk for every single kernel on the whole ear. So this is our jar of Huitlacoche liquid culture, Huitlacoche. We have syringes that we're going to use to inoculate the ear of corn. So usually inoculating stuff with liquid culture is a very scientific process. Everything has to be clean and sanitized, and you do it in a laboratory, but we're here in the garden. So you don't have to worry about that as much. These are sanitary packed, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna pull them right out. So take your syringe, put it together. Make sure anytime you're handling it, you have the cap on it. It's really easy to puncture yourself. We're gonna shake this up. So the culture in here, if you haven't used a stir bar, it'll be one solid block. So you wanna break that up. So for what we did is we used this milk frother. Usually this would be a really big problem if you're doing liquid culture because you're going to contaminate it, but it does not matter for this. We're using it in the garden here with dirt and everything around us. So use that to stir it up. Drop the liquid culture. I got the syringe with the liquid culture. We're going to inoculate this ear. It's nice, cigar sized. We're going to clear the leaf from around it so we have good access. We're going to trim the silk off of this ear of corn that we're going to inoculate, because they do better when they haven't been pollinated from the tassel above, which pollinates through the silk channel here. You don't necessarily have to do this. It will grow fine without it, but you get a higher yield of Huitlacoche if you do this. We're going to inject the ear twice with 5 to 10 milliliters of liquid culture, once near the top, once near the bottom. You want your needle angled down to make sure the liquid gets all the way to the base of the ear, to make sure the whole thing is inoculated. You're going to stick your needle in until you feel the cob and then pull it out slightly. You want to inject in the channel between the silk and the husk. To further prevent pollination, we're going to take this shoot bag to put over this ear of corn here. You're going to find a nice young ear of corn, remove the silk if it started. You're going to fold over a lip here to make that a little stronger. Slide around the ear, give it a little tug so it's nice and tight there. And for good measure, you can actually staple the bottom of it. This ear is covered to keep the pollen from fertilizing it. You want to keep this bag after it's been inoculated. You want to keep that on there for another couple of days, like 3 or 4 days. Then you can remove it just to let the culture get established inside the ear. I hope this inspired you to grow Huitlacoche. Tag us on social and let us know how your garden's going.